All right, the next part of phase one, after we've gone through and gotten the inventory and set goals for our clients, is giving them some nutrition education. I don't recommend overwhelming them with a ton of metabolism knowledge, which is why we're not going to go into a ton of metabolism knowledge in this section. You really need to keep it as simple as possible for your clients to achieve optimal success. And this it means as they're starting not to get so hung up on all the details with metabolism. We really want to focus on the overall picture, helping clients understand there's three macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fat. What do those mean? What do they need to do with each of those to help them see the results that they want to see? We're going to spend about 20 minutes on this part. You've really gotten to know your client, found out what they're doing now. We've set some goals with them. We're going to go through some nutrition education, but then the next part is going to be the most important part, the action steps, creating those behaviors that you want your client to achieve optimal success. So we want to talk about macronutrients, the meat and potatoes of the session, if that makes any sense. We're going to understand how to pair these foods together, portion sizes. We're always going to start off with the plate method. Get them just eating more vegetables, cutting down the amount of carbohydrates, choosing appropriate sources of those macronutrients, and then go into details with customized plans and giving them different options there. The meal plans are one tool for success. We don't have to tell them this is exactly what they need to follow breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Think of it as 28 different options. You have 4 weeks of meal plans, 7 days, a ton of different ideas for you to pair these protein, carbs, and fats together. The a way you approach this part of it is so important. You don't want your clients to feel overwhelmed, and you need to keep it as simple as possible so your clients don't feel overwhelmed. You want to figure out what they're doing now. So if we're talking to a client at the beginning and they are just really confused, thinking that juice is really awesome because it has fruit in it, and maybe they don't even understand what a protein, carb, and fat is, we don't need to get hung up on all of the numbers. We just need to teach them the basics of protein, carbs, and fat. If your client's already used to dialing in macros, then we can go into a little bit more detail, but you want to keep it as simple as possible for your clients. We want to really just be talking about balance. We want to talk about foods that they can have instead of all the foods that they cannot have. So we'll go over food substitutions in the next section and action steps, but we want clients to understand what foods they can swap in and out so that they can create a balanced meal with whatever they have available to them. Breaking down macronutrients. So we have protein, carbs, and fat, three macronutrients. Carbohydrates are probably what gets the most bad rap. And the American Standard Diet says that you should have about 50 to 60% of your diet coming from carbohydrates. We really focus on the zone approach as far as portions of macronutrients. I don't talk about zone at all with my clients because then they find a way to get in all of the food products, different bars and such, because they quote unquote are zone. So we want to talk about protein, carbs, and fat. We want to talk about the types of carbohydrates. Carbs is a big umbrella. We've got juice and fruit and pasta, bread, chips, desserts, all these different sugar, all these different types of things under carbohydrates. We want to focus on the ones that are the lowest glycemic carbs, that have the least inflammatory response. Those should make about 40% of our diet. Protein should make up about 30% of our diet. We have different sources of protein. We'll talk about higher quality and lower quality sources of protein when we dive into protein more in depth, but most people don't understand there's a big difference between chicken breast and chicken thigh, or sirloin and a ribeye. Yes, they understand there's more white or more fat, but they don't really understand what that means as far as macronutrient composition, calorie composition of those different options. Fat should be about 30% of our diet. There's different sources of fat. A lot of fats are found in meats and dairy. We want to really focus on getting added sources of fat from nuts and seeds and adding some olive oil or avocado to our foods, so that we're adding extra volume without killing two birds with one stone with having a ton of high fat meats that are high in saturated fat. So we're looking at calories and macronutrients. Calorie breakdown. Protein has 4 calories per gram of protein. It's the same as carbohydrates, but 7 grams is 1 ounce. 7 grams of protein is 1 ounce, 1 serving of protein. Carbohydrates, same as protein as far as 4 calories per gram. In the way we're doing it as far as zone and talking more about, not about box, but about servings and pairing protein, carbs, and fats together. There's about 9 grams per serving in carbohydrates. Fat is double the amount of calories per gram. Very nutrient dense, meaning there are a lot of calories packed in just a little tiny gram of fat. We've got 9 calories per gram of fat, 3 grams per serving. So it's a much smaller portion of food. Fat is a much smaller portion compared to protein and carbohydrates because it is so nutrient dense. So let's dive into it. We've got our carbohydrates. This is our body's main source of fuel. It spares protein from being used as energy. So in a workout, if we're going fasted and doing high intensity, we don't want protein. We don't want our muscle to be used as energy. We want carbs. That's why we have people eat before their workout. It aids in the breakdown of fat. We want carbohydrates. This is our body's main source of fuel. We want to choose carbohydrates that are lower in sugar, higher in fiber. Yes, eating around our workouts, you can have a little bit higher glycemic carbohydrates, but we really want to focus the majority of our day on carbs that are high in fiber, low in sugar, so it has a less inflammatory response, causes our body to secrete less insulin, having blood sugar go up and down, a bit less spike when we're having lower glycemic foods. Fiber, we've got 2 types of fiber under carbohydrate. So fiber is a non-digestible carbohydrate, meaning that our body doesn't break it down. We don't absorb it. So we have soluble, which helps to lower cholesterol. We have insoluble fiber, which bulks up our stool. So if people are having trouble going to the bathroom, having more insoluble fiber is the way to go. If you're just having like a ton of like fiber 1 bars and all of this like added fiber stuff, not always the best option, tends to cause bloating for some people. So having natural sources from nuts and seeds and vegetables is going to be the way to go. We want to have both. We want to have soluble and insoluble fiber. We want to make sure that we are having foods that are low in sugar, high in fiber, less inflammatory response, and focusing on the types of foods that we want. So helping clients understand that a donut and Fruity Pebbles is not going to have the same effect on our body as quinoa and sweet potato and some strawberries. Helping them understand that we want to stick to the latter of those. Sugar is something that I talk about a lot. So many clients are addicted to sugar or sugar-free stuff. You know, if your client is just loading up with a ton of artificial sweeteners, it's not the best option for them. Sugar is regular sugar 8 times more addicting than cocaine. So there's a lot of different reactions that happen in the body, but when we eat it, our body secretes enzymes which help break sugar down. These enzymes break down the carbs, the sugar in our stomach. It goes into our bloodstream. The pancreas secretes insulin, and then that brings our blood sugar down. There's a lot of inflammatory responses every time that we have sugar. So we want to limit the amount of sugar that we have. The average American consumes over 160 pounds of sugar per year. That is insane. We want to make sure that we're having not that much sugar, breaks down to about 20 teaspoons per day. To give you an idea, the American Heart Association recommends less than a third of that for women and less than half of that for men. We want clients to look at the food labels. So if you're looking at a food label, if it says 4 grams of sugar, that means 1 teaspoon. So if it has 20 grams of sugar, we've got 5 teaspoons of sugar in whatever that thing is. So we want to look at that. We also want to look at the ingredients label. So the ingredients label, when you look at a food, the most abundant food is first on the ingredients label. So if sugar is the second thing or the first thing, that means that there's more sugar in there than any other ingredient in the food label, which is crazy. A lot of people don't realize how much sugar is in drinks and different types of like Pop-Tarts, for instance. Sugar dissolves in water, so you can add a ton of it and you don't realize that you're tasting that much. This is the exact amount of teaspoons of sugar that are in some of these drinks. Between 16 and 18 teaspoons of sugar in some of these drinks. You know, I had a client, a kid that I was working with, he had every single type of Pop-Tart in his pantry. So we were working on, he was very overweight, and it got to a point where he ended up being so addicted to sugar, he punched me in the stomach when we just talked about throwing one of these cartons of Pop-Tarts away. So you don't want your children, you want to talk about when you're talking to clients, you want to show this to them. A lot of people don't realize how much sugar is in lemonade and juices. So helping them understand, showing them a picture like this, even doing, we'll do interactive things when we do different corporate wellness or nutrition seminars. We'll show people, hey, this is how much sugar is in the food or the drinks that you're having. Here you go. So people can actually see how many teaspoons of sugar is in what they're drinking. So especially if clients are going out to eat and they're just constantly getting refills of soda, this can be a ton of empty calories, do not provide any nutritional value. We want to try and stick to water, cut out all the sugar in sugar sweetened beverages. Glycemic index, again, this is how is your body responding to the food that you are eating. So if you're having a low glycemic food, your body does not have to secrete as much hormones, insulin, higher in fiber, going to slow down digestion, better option for you. Basically, it comes down to if you're eating 200 calories worth of almonds or a slice of cake, what does that look like in your body? A lot less inflammatory response if we're having almonds versus cake. A movie, Fed Up, is really great at explaining, showing the metabolism stuff of that. I would recommend watching it. It's really, really eye-opening for you. But we want to look at different types of foods and fruits, especially. So if your client is, having a bowl of watermelon, which was one of my clients who was diabetic had a bowl of watermelon at night, there's a lot of sugar in there versus a cup of berries or an apple. So having low glycemic fruits, 1 to 2 servings a day, awesome. For starches, having lower glycemic starches, even cereals like grain cereals, higher glycemic index than an old-fashioned oat or steel-cut oats, or even quinoa and sweet potatoes, chickpeas. Those are going to be lower glycemic. We ideally want to stick to some of these lower glycemic carbohydrates for a source of carb. Paleo friendly. If your client is wanting to stick to more paleo in a meal plan, have them swap out rice, quinoa, beans for butternut squash or sweet potato. Maybe they do some of the zoodles or sweet potato zoodles instead of the rice and quinoa that is in the meal plan. Protein, these are our body's building blocks. Protein plays a ton of different roles in the body, from inflammation, immune system, acid-base balance. They're transporters of enzymes. They help regulate so many different things as far as hormones and enzymes, fluid electrolyte balance as well. We need to have protein in our diet. For vegetarians especially, this is something that we want to really keep in mind, because vegetarian diet is typically pretty low in protein. Clients think like, oh, I'm getting all my protein from beans and rice, but the amount of protein that you would need would push you way over on the carbohydrates. Or if their primary source of protein in a vegetarian diet is nuts, we're going to get a lot more fat than protein in the nuts. So we want to try and keep that balance of 40% carbs, 30% protein, 30% fat. We have essential amino acids. That means that our body cannot synthesize them. We have to have them from our diet. There's non-essential amino acids, which those can be synthesized by our body. Conditionally essential amino acids means that they're non-essential, but in times of need, our body can't make enough, such as glutamine and arginine. We see this a lot with clients that are under stress, or if you're a dietitian working with cancer patients or burn victims, they need more of these glutamine, arginine types of conditionally essential amino acids during that prolonged period of stress. High intensity, prolonged exercise, we're going to need more of this as well. So protein quality, we've got lean sources of protein, medium fat sources of protein, we've got high fat sources of protein. So we want clients to stick to leaner sources of protein, chicken and fish and turkey breast, pork tenderloin, egg whites, bison, lobster, scallops. If we're cooking the lobster with butter, scallops and butter instead of oil, then we're going to be adding fat there. But those protein sources themselves are pretty lean. Medium fat sources of protein, we've got some sirloin, eggs, even fillets a little bit leaner. Ground turkey, you can have ground turkey breast, which is going to be lean. Regular ground turkey is going to be a medium fat source of meat. Elk would be another option. Then you've got high fat sources of meat. So a lot of fat, protein ratio, fat to protein, there's going to be a lot more fat than there's protein. Bacon's on here twice, pork's on here twice. People love that stuff. But basically, we want to limit the amount of high fat meats that we're having. If we're having just a little bit, okay, fine, but we want to stick to the leaner, medium fat meats so that we can add extra sources of fat later. If we're having bacon, we're going to have 1 ounce of bacon is going to be too fat. So we're going to go over on our fat quite a bit. Complementary vegetarian sources. So if we're having grains, we're not going to get all of the amino acids that we need in our diet. So we want to pair beans and rice together to get those complementary vegetarian proteins. But then we add something like nutritional yeast or chia seeds to it to add additional protein. Kale is a very good source of protein. Vegetarians are going to need protein powder. Pea protein or hemp protein going to be an option for them, but they're going to need some protein powder to get in the protein they need without going way over on the carbs or the fat, depending on which source they're getting it from. So fat. Most people, even a lot of my clients think that fat makes you fat, and this is something that they have to really fight their brains for because they have built up in their head for so many years that fat makes you fat. And when you help to explain that to them, fat is not necessarily what makes you fat. We need fat in our diet. It's really important. We have cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, HDL cholesterol in our body. Our body makes cholesterol, but we also consume it through animal products. So some people, hereditary, might have high cholesterol. That means their body makes a little bit more cholesterol. LDL, LDL and HDL are when your blood is tested, how they determine are your arteries getting clogged or are they pretty in good condition. HDL is the good type of cholesterol in your body. A high HDL is going to be decreasing inflammation. Your arteries are not going to be at risk for clogging as much as LDL cholesterol, which is the bad cholesterol. We want this one to be a little bit lower. So HDL we want to be higher, LDL we want to be lower. There's a ratio between these two numbers. This tells us our risk of heart disease. So HDL we want to be higher. How do we get that higher? We incorporate omega-3s into our diet. So omega-3s are something that are really important. Helps our bodies decrease our reaction to stress. It'll increase the HDL. It improves mood and brain function. You've got 2 types of HDL that's found in animals, EPA and DHA. DHA, ALA is found in plants. So different types. If you get a supplement that's like a fish oil supplement, it's going to have DHA and EPA in it. ALA is going to be what you find in plant sources. So different types of omega-3s, we want to incorporate those into our diet. If you're getting salmon, it needs to be wild caught. Farm-raised salmon, you can clearly see a difference if you're comparing them, but there's not going to be as much omega-3s in farm-raised fish as the wild-caught fish, so we want to try and stick to that. Chia seeds are a really great option, or getting a supplement would be an option too. Saturated fats, so those will increase our LDL cholesterol. Coconut oil has a little bit higher amount of saturated fat, but it's a different type than the saturated fats that are found in animal products. So it's not as bad for you. There's a lot of actual health benefits for coconut oil. Incorporating that into cooking and maybe roasting vegetables and stuff like that. So sources of fats, we've got animal products, but then also dairy, nuts and oils, olives, coconut cream and milk. We've got medium fats and high fat meats that we can go back to that previous slide to show, are we having bacon or chicken breast? We're going to have a lot more fat in bacon than we will with a chicken breast. At the very basis of it, you're talking about protein, carbs, and fats with your clients and the ones you want them to stick to. Always keep it positive. Talk about the foods that they can have instead of saying like, oh, never have bacon again. We want you to focus on having egg whites with some eggs over having a ton of bacon, cooking your eggs in bacon fat. At the very basis of it, we're talking about the plate method. Half of our plate vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter starch. We want clients to understand what a non-starchy vegetable is. So broccoli and carrots and green beans and asparagus and cauliflower. There's so many different ways now to make cauliflower. We get cauliflower rice or mashed cauliflower is another great option. We want to fill up half of our plate with that. We want to eat all of that first. Then we'll go to our protein, a lean source of meat. It's going to be like chicken or fish or pork tenderloin, maybe even some shrimp. Maybe we cook it with a little bit of olive oil, and then we go to our starch. So that might be roasted sweet potatoes or brown rice or quinoa, butternut squash, going to be in that starch section. Again, we're having vegetables first, then our protein, and then we're saving our starch towards the end. Portion distortion. So, when your clients are telling you they had some brown rice, and then you tell the next question that you follow that up with when you're asking about a typical day is how much, and you say 1 fist, 2 fists, most likely it's going to be 2 plus. Really, our portion of starch should be 1 or a little bit less than 1 fist of our starch. So this needs to be a focus point. This needs to be an action step for your clients to understand, all right, what is a source of protein? How much should we have? This blue thing is a hockey puck. So about still the same size as the palm of our hand should be our protein, 3 to 5 ounces, maybe even 6. If your client's having a 28-ounce ribeye, that's going to be way too much protein, way too much fat in one sitting. Overconsumption is what is leading to obesity. People are eating way more food than they actually need. When your clients are getting used to cutting down the amount of food, their stomachs are not going to feel full because they're cutting down the portion sizes significantly. So have them start off with the vegetables, then go to the protein, eat the starch at the end. If they're still hungry, wait 15 minutes. Our brain is 15 minutes behind our belly. Then go back to the vegetables and maybe you have a little bit more protein. You want to help your clients understand mindful eating. Are they eating because they're hungry? Are they eating because they're bored? Are they eating because it's food in front of their plate? When you go out to eat, likely you're eating extra because it's sitting in front of you. So if you pack up half of it right to the beginning, or ask for the lunch portion, or split an entree with someone, that's going to be a great way to help with portion control. Moderation is key. If we're making macaroni and cheese for the kids, which happens once in a blue moon, I might have a bite or two of it if I want it, but I'm not having a huge bowl of macaroni and cheese. I am having a huge bowl of vegetables, filling up my stomach with that first, having our protein, and then maybe I have a couple bites of that. But you want to make sure that you're having that balance. Moderation is key. You don't want your clients to feel deprived completely, but you want to make sure that they're getting that balance of protein, carbs, and fat. Understanding nutrition labels, this is important. Most people do not understand what a nutrition label is. We even have one laminated so I can go through within initial consult if client has never really looked at these. Servings per cup at the top. So if it says 2 and servings per container says 2 and they ate the whole thing, we have to double all of this stuff to understand the exact amount that they ate. So if they had the whole thing, we would have 500 calories, 24 grams of fat, 6 grams of saturated fat, 6 grams of trans fat. This is going to be a little older recipe because trans fats are not found often. That's a man-made fat. You add hydrogen to it. That has helped things get a little bit more shelf stable. Really, you're going to find saturated fats in our dairy products, animal products. Carbohydrates, there's some sugar, there's no fiber in here. So there's no whole grains. The fiber is what slows down digestion and helps keep us full. A lot of carbs and not a lot of fiber. 60 grams of carbs in one serving is a lot. We're not usually having clients get 60 plus grams of serving of carbohydrates in one sitting. Protein, there's not a lot of protein in here. So this is a really carb, fat heavy dish. There's not a lot of protein. If they had this, they wanted this, what we would do, okay, maybe you have this, you're loading up with a ton of vegetables, and then you are adding some protein on the side so that you have some carbs. You're already getting your fat from this, and then you're having your protein. Other things we want to look at, sodium. So your packaged things are going to be higher in sodium. Sodium causes things to be more shelf stable, so it could sit around for a while. Even frozen products will have quite a bit of sodium in them, especially if they have a sauce in there. So this is saying 470 milligrams of sodium per day. Clients that have blood pressure issues, we're limiting their sodium to about 1,800 milligrams per day. So if they had a whole container of this would be half of their sodium for the entire day. Unless your food is straight from the produce section, with nothing else added to it, like straight vegetables, even our canned vegetables, our frozen vegetables are going to have sodium added to them. So it's very easy to get a lot of sodium. Sodium causes our body to retain fluid. And for people that are having blood pressure issues, if you're retaining fluid, your blood pressure is going to go up. So we want to focus on having fiber. We want things that are having fiber because they're going to keep us full and satisfied. If it has 0 to 5%, it's considered low. 20+% is high. So 20, it's high. This food would be considered high sodium. It is considered low fiber food for this option. Down at the bottom also tells us how many portions of versus the daily recommended amount of micronutrients. So macronutrients are the nutrients that provide calories. Micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals that we have. So this provides quite a bit of calcium and pretty low with vitamin A, iron, and vitamin C. So this is how we do a nutrition label. You would be surprised at how many people don't actually understand this. So going through it with them, it would be very helpful. So once we've gone through, hey, what's a protein, what's a carb, what's a fat, we go through a highlighting activity with our clients that's the middle of the customized handbook, and it says, what is a serving? So we're going to go through, the first page is going to be all of our proteins. We're going to have our clients highlight all the protein sources that they like on that page. The next one is the carbohydrates. The last one is the fats. Underneath that is the international exchange list so that they understand in a meal plan, if it says 000, let's switch it out for a low sugar Greek yogurt. So we want our clients to highlight all the foods that they like. This is going to help them understand how to swap foods in and out of their meal plans. So as they're doing that, we've done the goal setting with our client. We're going to go through and create their customized plan. You're going to use the customized plan creator that's in the active clients course. You're going to go to custom plan and then custom meal plan creator. What you're going to need is your client's name, your gym name, your email address, because the meal plan is going to be emailed over to you. You're going to need your client's weight and body fat percentage and an activity factor. So how often are they working out? You're going to look at, if you've already done their biometrics, because we've already tested that. That's what happens in step 2 before goal setting. So we're going to go through and plug in their weight, their body fat percentage, an activity factor. There's a chart there so that you can easily tell. And then you are going to get a meal plan, custom meal plan emailed over to you. So activity factors, if your client's not moving, they're not burning any extra calories. So very simple, plain and simple there. If your client is moving quite a bit or they're doing additional strength, they're going to need more calories. Performance-based athletes are going to get a whole different plan that's performance-based, that has some additional protein, some additional carbohydrates, and quite a bit of additional fat to meet that calorie balance that they need for the performance, that the additional exercise that they're doing on top of the 1.1 to 1.2. So based on your calculator, based on the custom meal plan creator, your clients are going to get a meal plan. The meal plans don't go below 1,300 calories. It's about 1,225, 13 blocks, which is about 1,225 calories. It's not going to go above 30. So once you get above 30, then we're starting to move over to performance plans. Performance plans are going to be for your clients that are looking to increase performance. Their activity level is much higher. We need to get them the additional calories for the day. So your clients that are just looking for weight loss, you're going to put them on the regular plans. Our performance-based athletes that are looking to really increase their performance and that are really high on the exercise, clients that are working out twice a day or prolonged exercise beyond your hour-long classes, that's when we'll move over to those performance plans. Customized day worksheet. So once you fill out the meal plan creator, it's going to say 13A Bobby. If your Bobby is your client's name, you're going to match that up with the meal plan creator, the customized worksheet. This, we're going to go through. It's going to have a breakdown. So say we've got a 15A meal plan. The worksheet's going to say 3 servings for breakfast. That means 3 servings of protein, 3 servings of carbs, 3 servings of fat. We want our clients to understand that every time they have protein, they need to pair it with carbs and fat. Whenever they have fat, they need to pair it with protein and carbohydrates. So we're going to go through, and based on the foods that they highlighted, we're going to say, okay, you like eggs? Awesome. We're going to have 3 eggs, and then we're going to have 3 servings of carbs. We'll add all of that together. The eggs are going to count for our protein and our fat. Now we just need to add carbs. For our snack, we're going to have protein, carbs, and fats. Didn't have eggs. Maybe they did. A hard-boiled egg is a great option that's going to knock out both protein and carbs. Maybe they have a cup of berries with it as well. That's going to be protein, carbs, and fats. For our servings for lunch, that's going to be 4 ounces of chicken, 1.5 ounces per serving for our ground meat and our fish. So let's say 4 ounces of chicken, then we'll do our vegetables, have a little bit of starch, and then we're going to add in the fat because chicken breast is a lean meat. We'll add an avocado or cook with a little bit of oil. We're going to go through breakfast, lunch, dinner, post-workout, and snacks so that clients have all of those different options. For pre and post-workout, if your client's working out first thing in the morning, they're not going to have fat before their workout, and they're not going to have fat right after their workout. We want to pair protein and carbohydrates around our workouts. So this is what a sample worksheet will look like. Again, after you get the meal plan, you'll just match up. If it says 13, you'll print out the 13 worksheet. I have all of these worksheets already printed out, so it's very easy for me. Once I see the meal plan, I'll just grab the appropriate worksheet, and then we get to work. It is very important, if you are not an RD, that you are having your client write this down. I'm going to repeat this again. If you are not an RD, your client needs to be filling this out themselves. You cannot write meal plans for them. They are going to be writing this out themselves. So 3 ounces of protein, they're going to find 3 sources of protein. This is going to help them too understand, all right, we're going to go to the protein section of what is a serving. I'm going to find 3 of those. Then I'm going to move to the carbohydrates. Then I'm going to move to the fat. If my protein had fat in it, then I'm not going to add extra. Some of these options, especially like our Greek yogurts, might have a little bit more than 1 serving of protein. That's okay. We really want to focus on the overall picture of pairing protein, carbs, and fat together, especially when we get to recipes. It's not going to be exactly perfect that it is 7 times 4, exactly the amount of protein grams per serving, or exactly 36 grams of carbohydrates per serving. It's going to be pretty close, but understand that we're really looking for the overall picture of a balance: protein, carbs, and fat, pairing those together, choosing appropriate sources of carbohydrates that are low in sugar, high in fiber, over getting and dialing into the exact gram every single time. So let's go over a sample client. Let's say we have Jason. He's a master's athlete, 192 pounds. His body fat percentage is 16%. He works out 4 times a week. We're going to plug in all these numbers. We're going to get in the meal plan creator. You don't even have to do this. You're going to plug in his weight, 192. You're going to plug in 16.0 for 16% body fat. Then we're going to pick the appropriate activity factor, 1.1, for his working out 4 times a week. After we plug all of that in, we're going to put in his goals and his action steps and my email. Know that if I don't put my email in correctly, Jason's meal plan is not going to get emailed to me. I'm not going to be able to give it to him. So you want to make sure that you're typing in your email address correctly. And then after that, it's going to email you over the meal plan that's appropriate to him. So it's customized based on the calories, protein, carbs, and fat. The meal plan is going to have your gym name, your client's name on every single page. The first page is going to have your client's name, their goals, and action steps on there. You're filling out the name, the goals, the action steps on your client's profile. Interpreting the meal plans. So if we're looking at challenge meal plans, it's going to have ranges. Low end of the ranges, women trying to lose weight. Middle of the end of the ranges is going to be men trying to lose weight. High end of the ranges are performance. If there's stars next to a option, know that means there's a recipe on our website. Your clients are, the site for the recipes is on the front page of their meal plan. Also, one of the first automated messages within the app gives the link to find out all the recipes. All of the portions for all of the meals are cooked. Know that when you're cooking chicken, for instance, there's about a 20 to 25% decrease in ounces of chicken when it's cooked versus uncooked. Veggies, you're having a 50% decrease. So if it says 1 cup of cooked vegetables, we're going to have to do 2 cups of raw because it's going to cook down to 1 cup. Especially our leafy greens, they cook down a lot. Our starches are going to increase in size. So if we have raw rice, it's going to over double the amount of rice. So if it's a third of a cup of rice, it's going to end up being about 2/3 of cups of rice cooked. Interpretation of the meal plan. I want to spend a couple of minutes on this because this gets asked often. You really want to keep it as simple as possible for your clients. I take the least amount of time on the meal plans because I don't want clients to feel like they have to eat X, Y, and Z the whole time. The goal of the meal plans is to give 28 different options for pairing protein, carbs, and fats together. I try to keep it super simple by circling the foods that I like. So on the meal plan A, I really like the pulled chicken. The meatloaf muffins is super popular. So I circle those options. I'm like, hey, prep those. That's going to be a really great thing for you. If they struggle with breakfast, hey, here's some really great breakfast options. Let's prep these 2 things. This will help keep us on track here. You want to focus on the big picture of pairing protein, carbs, and fat over like dialing every single detail at the beginning. They don't need to, on Monday, day 1 of the meal plan, or week 1, prep all of those different things. The meal plans there's different stuff every day to give a wide variety. That doesn't mean your client needs to eat something every single day, a different thing every single day. That's going to take a lot of time to prep. Some people don't mind having the same foods a couple days in a row, which is why we circle a couple things on the meal plans like, hey, you prep these 2 options. Some people want a ton of variety. That's why there's a lot of variety in the meal plans. So know when your client is only prepping a couple things, they're going to have to take that like standard grocery list of, okay, these are my staples, and then I'm going to have to get the additional things for whatever recipe that they are making. So within the active clients course, you're going to go to custom plan. That's where you're going to find all of the tools and resources you need for phase 1. So under that, you're going to see custom meal plan creator. On the custom meal plan creator, this is the form that you're going to see. You're going to plug in your client's name, your affiliate name, your client's email. If you plug in your client's email, the meal plan will get emailed directly to them. Typically, I will just put in my email. We use this exact same form at our facility. I'll plug in my email, so it's emailed to me, and then I'll upload it to their app. You're going to plug in their short and long-term goals, as well as their action steps, and then we plug in their weight, body fat percentage, activity factor. Once we do that, the meal plan gets emailed to us. You hit submit. The meal plan gets emailed to us. We'll get a meal plan that says a number at the beginning, and then I'll say A or B, depending on what meal plan I picked that I wanted to use. Custom A and B. Doesn't matter which one you use. Custom A was the first set of meal plans that we created. Custom B is the second set. If you're an international affiliate, I would go ahead and start with B because there's less brand names in the B option. I'll repeat, there's less brand names in the B customized plans than the A customized plans. So for you international affiliates, that's going to be the way to start. After you get that, it'll say, let's say A, 18A, Bobby Joe. So we're going to match up above this meal plan form says calorie and macronutrient breakdown form. You're going to click that and it'll say 18 means 1,735 calories. Click that. And then that's going to be what you plug into their MyFitnessPal protein, carbs, and fats. I don't know all of the numbers off the top of my head. I don't need to. I actually have this calorie breakdown chart printed out in my desk so I can just easily pull it out. Once the meal plan's emailed to me, I pull it out. Now I know how many protein, carbs, and fat is in the meal plans that is recommended for our clients, and then we'll set those numbers for them in MyFitnessPal. Integration with the app. So we need to set up our client with access to the app, sign in access prior to the initial consult so they can fill out that initial consult form and already have it downloaded. You want them to connect their MyFitnessPal to the app. If they've never used MyFitnessPal, you're going to spend a couple minutes orienting them with that. You can look at all of the MyFitnessPal app training videos within the course. If you need help yourself, I would recommend that you actually log your food too so you can get used to and help your clients personally because you've already tried it yourself. So you want to connect their MyFitnessPal to the app. If you don't do that, then your client's information from MyFitnessPal will never pull over from the app. You want to set their goals after you upload their meal plan. You have to change the goals separately from MyFitnessPal and in the app. You need to set them in the app so that you can easily see what their goals are based on what they're eating. in the calendar view. You're going to add them to your nutrition board within that app of all your nutrition clients. So it's group messaging. You want to show them where to watch the videos. So each week, different videos will pop up, but you need to copy the specific program that your client's on to your client's profile. So new clients always get the new customized client program copied to their profile. It's going to go through really a lot of things that you went through in the initial consult, but then, take it a little step further. Each week, different videos pop up. So it's really nice. You want to show them where to find those videos so that they actually watch them. You want to show them how to privately message you so that if they have any questions, they can just contact you right through the app. I would recommend downloading the app on your phone and putting it at the beginning before you get any clients. Make yourself a test client so you can try out the app and see what it looks like from a client perspective. But once you do that and you start seeing clients, you need to download the app and log in as the trainer profile so that you can get notifications when someone messages you. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. But I really want you to spend some time going through after you get access to the active clients course on creating a meal plan and just getting comfortable with that part, and then going through the activity yourself with what is a serving and highlighting the foods on there, and then making that customized day so that you get really comfortable with that. The main point of that is to be pairing protein, carbs, and fats together, not really dialing. Yes, we're dialing in the details as far as portions, but we don't want that to be the number one focus at the beginning. Like, get your clients a good foundation of quality foods first before dialing in the quantity. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. But this is a very important step that we need to dial in and understand before seeing our first clients.